Algebra 8.6 exponential growth deals with an equation that is used when we're predicting money and interest, and it can be very helpful to you, like when you have a savings account. Sadly, not so helpful if you are in debt. But here's the equation, okay? This is when funding grows exponentially over a certain amount of years. So each letter represents something. C represents the initial amount. So C is your, how much do you have, start with. How much you start with before anything growth happens. R is the rate that it grows. Okay, let's say you have a savings account, and if you keep the money there yearly, it'll grow 0.2. 2%, which doesn't sound a lot, but it does sound, but it's still making money off of just keeping keeping your money in something. So, and then T is the rate of time. So how much time is it? Yearly, 2 years, 3 years, however much time you want to predict. Like if I put this in a savings account and I don't touch it, how much will I have in 10 years? And that's what the T represents. So we're going to try some problems. So please make sure to write that down, because you're going to need this information when we're doing the problems. Alright, so here, number one, it says you deposit $500 in an account that pays 8%. Okay, so the bank promises you that if you keep $500 in this account, because what they do is they actually can spend that $500, doing their bank stuff, and then they don't, they expect you to save it. So they're able to run their business, but at the same time, they'll give you interest for letting them use their money, basically. So that's why a bank would give you a certain amount. So 8% interest compounded yearly, what will be the balance in 6 years? So if every year it gives you 8% of how much is in there, right, then that means that 8% will grow. So it's not 8% set, right? So let's say 8% is 500 times is $40. So next year you'll have $540. Now, the 8% of the following year is not going to be over 500, it's going to be $540. So then that means your 8% gets a little bigger, and your 8% gets a little bigger, hence the term exponential. It doesn't just grow a little bit at a steady rate, it starts growing bigger. Because once you get 1,000, then it starts growing, even bigger. So our equation is y equals C, which is, if you look, C represents our initial amount, so 500, okay? And then the equation is 1 plus R. Now, this is our R, this is our rate, but we have to put it in decimal point, okay? In order for me to put it in decimal point, I take the number and I divide it by 100. 8 divided by 100 is 0.08. This is the number that I put in the equation. Okay? So this becomes 0.08. Okay? And then I want to find out how much it is in 6 years. So this is my T, my time. Alright? So, if I'm going to solve this, it's going to be y equals 500 times 1.08 to the power of 6, which 1.8 to the 6th, once Miss gets a calculator working, 1.08 to the 6th gives me 500 times 1 point, and I'm going to use 4 decimal places to keep this, right? I'm going to times that by 500. So, let me write that bigger. $793.43. So in 6 years, I made almost $300 by just leaving that in the bank. Right? So Now they want us to graph it. So let's just look. I'm going to put this number in for all the time. Now, anything to the power of 0 is 1, and 500 times 1 is 1, so this is going to be 500. Now, y equals, so the only thing I'm changing is here. I'm keeping everything the same. The equation is still y equals 500, okay? 1 plus 0.08. The only thing that's changing is this t. This represents all my t's. Now 0 is there. This is 1, then it's 500 times 1.08. $500 times 1.08, which would be 540, like we had predicted. Okay, and then 100, then 2 is in for t, so 1.08 to the power of 2, which gives me 1.164664, and I times that by 500. This gives me 583.2. There's money, all money. Okay, and the last one is 3. So 1.08 to the power of 3 times that by 500. I get 629.86. Okay, so if I wanted to do this, this would be 500, 550. This is the amount in dollars. 500, 550, 600, 650, 700. And this is the time. This would be 0. No, sorry. 0 would be here. This would be 1, 2, 3. So if I wanted to graph that, 0 would be 500, 1 would be 540, 2 would be 583, and then 3 would be 629. So, okay, you see how it's not just a straight line that goes rapidly up. It's going to start going here, and as we go more and more, the line will get steeper and steeper, okay, because the more you have that. Now, I made $200 and something off starting with 500. Can you imagine if I started off with $8,000? Okay, by letting it compound yearly, I could make quite a bit. So go ahead and write this down. Try page 477. Try number 2, and then graph it. All right. So again, page 477, number 2. Then graph it, and I'll see you in class.